Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon.
Greetings.
Hello. Welcome to this conversation. Today, we are speaking of this book. You can purchase this book at a bookstore. It's called Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel by Freeform. Freeform wrote this book.
Do you want me to read the back?
If you want to.
So the first part, shortly after moving from California to Salem, Massachusetts, Max Dennison finds himself in hot water when he accidentally releases a coven of witches, the Sanderson sisters, from the afterlife. Max, his sister, and his new friends, human and otherwise, must find a way to stop the witches from carrying out their evil plan and remaining on Earth to torment Salem for all eternity. Then the second section says, 25 years later, Max and Allison's 17-year-old daughter, Poppy, finds herself face-to-face with the Sanderson sisters in all their sinister glory. When Halloween celebrations don't go quite as planned, it's a race against time as Poppy and her friends fight to save her family and all of Salem from the witch's latest vile scheme. Does the sequel really have, like, zero title?
Yeah. It's, I feel like I should have realized what this book was going to be like, what this journey was going to be just by the cover, the title, but I was intrigued because Hocus Pocus, and I really desperately wanted to enjoy this book.
You wanted it to be good.
I knew it was going to be fluff, and I still purchased it, and I still read through it. So this book is split into two parts. The first part is Hocus Pocus, and the second part, it's called Then. And by then, they mean then, like 1693 and 1993 all mixed together.
Then.
And then past. Now, as in
2018.
Now, is part two, which is the sequel. So, most of the first part follows the plot of the movie. It looks like I feel like this author went through a couple versions of the script and then picked what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And put
cherry
it in.
Picked.
Because there were some things that I was like, oh, are we going to explore the things that were cut from the theatrical release that were filmed or that were scripted? And those were not in here either. And I was like, where? The other for the most part, I enjoyed some of the stuff that was added. There were some lines that were added, and I said, oh, this makes sense, and this is some character development things. I don't like that Max was all obsessed with Allison from the beginning part of it, but, like, whatever.
Like, insta-latched.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot more of the backstory behind each of the witches and who their fathers were and why they act the way they do, and that they share their mother and the mother is all the same. I kept trying to figure out what the randomness of some of the information was, because it was just... And the book kind of went to this other girl for a while. Nobody really knows what happened, and let's move on with the plot. And I was like... And then there's a scene that goes through when Max and Allison's 5 o'clock in the morning and their mom's going to be angry, they open the book. And the thing that was in there was a list of the people that owned the book, and it said Winifred Sanderson, and then it said Elizabeth Sanderson. They're like, who's Elizabeth? I don't know, let's move on. And, like, left it alone. So they're setting up stuff for the second part of the book, which was fine.
It drives me crazy when they have to go back and, like, retroactively add material in order to make a sequel work.
But it doesn't, to me, it was not, I don't know. That didn't bother me as much as some other things do when I read it and I go, whoa, this is completely different. This made sense in the plot of the story. It didn't really alter anything.
Yeah.
So the first part was okay. It wasn't really necessary, but I enjoyed it. There were some things that I enjoyed reading. And then you get to the second part, which was really where the fluff was.
Yeah.
They were trying very hard to be this hip teen book.
They were trying too hard.
They were trying to make it a YA book for the ages, using these characters that people were familiar with, and it just, I don't know. It came
off like dry and crumbly.
Yeah.
Like, that's the description I'm going with, is dry and crumbly. Like, individually, the elements that they picked and that they put in, you're like, these are decent elements. Like,
and they make sense.
I see what you're trying to do. but they just didn't mesh.
They didn't mesh well together, but they also didn't mesh well with the plot that they were trying to tell. And it was...
Yeah.
It's 25 years later, and Max and Allison have a daughter, and...
Whose name is Poppy.
Yeah, that was the first thing. I was like, I don't...
What?
Not... which neither of them would have chose that name.
And she's lesbian. And, yay for more representation, but at the same time it felt like, look, we're representative! Which, for me, kind of kills what you were going for in the first place. And then they, really made it clear that her two best friends were black. And again, representation is fantastic, but when you do it for the sake of being representative, it felt hollow and forced. It felt like somebody had the checklist and said, okay, we're going to have this character be this and this character be that. And
this is the problem that a lot of books and television series and movies are falling into, is that they go through this, this checklist, like Katie was saying, and go through and make sure that they have all these things, and they go, but we were inclusive and we did everything and we hit all these plot points, and it's like, but did they work together? No.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time did that a lot too, and I was like, guys,
I'm always a little weirded out when there's a character with my name in a book.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't happen for how common the name Katie is. It really doesn't happen super often to me with books. And this one, it just kept, it was really jarring to see my name on the page. It just kept, popping me back out of it. It was real awkward. And also, the character was terrible. So,
yeah.
That felt really uncomfortable. I just felt attacked the whole... Obviously, that's a super personal issue, but, I felt attacked the whole time.
What's bothering me is that they're working on a reboot, sequel, something for Hocus Pocus, and I really don't want them to play with this because I don't want to watch it. I would rather see another Halloween Town movie.
There was also a lot of moments where the dialogue was really unnecessarily sarcastic. Teachers and stuff got sarcastic.
Teachers got
but it was there's no reason for that. If you have a sarcastic character, they use sarcasm. Also...
But it was just uncalled for. The teacher would be talking, then all of a sudden a sarcastic line, it'd boomerang out and back, and I'm like...
look, we're relating to the youths, is kind of the vibe that I got from those lines. Also, so Winifred Sanderson uses these absurd phrases when she's mad at her sisters and calls them all of these ridiculous things. And they tried to come up with new ones, and they did not fly.
No.
Some of them, I literally reread it 3 times and was like, I don't even know what you're trying to say anymore. What even... These are nonsense words with no context. Am I supposed to be offended? Am I supposed to cheer you? What? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these words. They're just meaningless words. So... Because they were trying not to recycle. I would have rather they recycled and been she has a set vocabulary that she cycles through.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Yeah.
But, let me come up with a brand new exclamation for her every time? Unnecessary. I will say, total spoiler, Thackeray and Emily Binks show up, and their dialogue sounds modern.
Oh, yeah,
The things they say are no different. The Sanderson sisters usually have a little thee and thy and thou thrown in, sprinkled in. They didn't even try with Thackeray and Emily.
Well, Thackeray didn't really have...
weird. Well, Thackeray didn't really do a lot of that because he had aged up through all of it, but Emily sounded super modern and was that's 100% uncalled for.
It's out of character.
And then, this Elizabeth's just super cobbled together and last minute and shoehorned in and just kind of felt plot...
Yeah.
Dumb. Not impressed.
I felt like I was force-fed characters.
It felt like a piece of fan fiction. It felt like somebody said... Yeah. Somebody created the character of Poppy and then said, oh my god, what would this story be like? It felt like a piece of self-insert fanfic.
Picked it up and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it felt like a bad piece of fanfic.
I'm just going to ignore that and pretend it doesn't exist at this point. Basically.
So, what is our opinion of this book? My cat. I'm just gonna keep scooting it off the table. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever.
I mean, yay reading, but also
it's not the worst thing ever. It's not 50 Shades of Grey.
It's
but
fluff.
That's about all the more I can give it.
It's fluff. If you enjoy, if you are bored and want to read, if you want to read a Hocus Pocus book, read it.
Yeah.
It won't. The first part really won't disappoint. The first part's the movie. The second part's weird.
That's it. That's our review.
Done.
You know what to do now. Throw this book out a window.
No, don't throw the book.
So, I put a spell on you.
Did you?
Hocus Pocus. Like this video.
She's being Elizabeth
I'm
right now.
so done.
My name's Elizabeth. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that ding-a-ling button. I will watch our Facebook like button and then click it. Thou will search for pictures on the Instagram me, and then, if you can find it, and then thou will give us the monies from the Patreon accounts, from thine own wallets and purses. Purses. I don't know what purses are.
Honestly, if no one supports us after this video, I'm not going to be surprised. So he's going to watch this video and go, I don't dare give them money.
I will give us monies. I'm tired. Don't. You're so loud.
I have a headache.
Money, please.
Money, please.
I will give us the money, please.
Good night.
Fan fiction.
I like that we left the 20% off Target sticker on
Sure
the front.
did.